Hello, so today I'm going to show you how to do a heater change on this Bosch washing machine. Does not apply to all models. Some heaters are located at the back of the machine, some are at the front. If they're at the front, then you need to follow the video I've made on how to change a door seal, as it's a completely different process of how to access. So there's a number of signs that would suggest your heater needs replacing. One of them being inaccurate wash time. So if you'd put on a cycle of 2 hours for 25 and it's finished in an hour and a half and it's a full load, then it's possibly a sign that the machine's readjusted its time, being that it can't heat. Another suggestion is that the display, if you've got one, may come up with a fault code FO2 or something similar. Best thing to do is look it up online and see if that applies to you. And the final diagnosis would be if your machine is tripping the electrics sort of midway through the wash. That would also suggest the heater is down to earth and needs replacing. So these are the tools you're going to need. A hammer, you've got a 10mm socket, we've got a T20 screwdriver, Torx screwdriver, and a flathead screwdriver. And it's a good idea to have a cut or something to put some screws in later on. Before you start any work, please make sure you unplug the appliance from the wall so that you don't cause any injury. So first things first, we need to remove 3 Torx T20 screws so we can gain access to the inside of the back of the machine. It may be useful at this point to get yourself a little pot to put whatever screws you've got in there to keep them safe. And then the back panel will come away at the bottom and then down. Next we need to remove the belt. Do so by getting a hand on your right or left hand side, whatever's easiest. Pull it towards you and slowly turn the drum and it will come away like that. Okay, so this is the back end of the heater. I'm going to show you how to remove the wiring now, as there is 1 or 2 on here that are slightly more awkward to remove. You've got left and right here, these 2 just pull out, but it is a good idea to take a photo of any wiring before you remove any wires to avoid any damage when you're wiring the new heater. You've got an earth tag here, you've got a small tag there you need to push down for the earth to come out. Yours may be the upside down spade. And then you've got a NTC plug here. This needs to come up at the top to allow the plug to come out, and they can just sit down there out of the way for now. So the next thing we need to do is remove this 10mm bolt, not completely. You probably want to remove it just to the end of the thread. So round about there. This one actually won't let me remove the bolt completely, so that's a bit of a lifesaver. And now what we need to do is this NTC plug, we're going to remove that to give the rubber a little bit more expansion room inside. Should just pull out towards you. And the other thing is you do need to keep this somewhere safe to refit to the new heater. So now what I'm going to do is tap the thread into the heater itself. I'm going to use a hammer and a flathead screwdriver. that's as close to the heater as you can get it. So now I'm going to show you how to extract the heater. If you get yourself a flathead screwdriver and stick it between the heater and the tub, and you need to prise towards you, and it should free up, and you can pull it towards you. It should come out like that, but you've got to be a little bit gentle, as any damage to the outer tub could cause a leak. It's a good idea at this point to wipe the face where the heater seal sits, as any dirt could cause a leak from the new seal. There's also a little bit of dirt in there. I'm just going to try and get out with my finger. Bit of lime scale. The last thing I want is that flicking up and catching the seal. So inside the tub, you've got a bracket here, which the heater sits around either side of. When you refit the new heater, you must make sure it goes in between the bracket, otherwise it's going to move around and it will hit the bottom of the drum and it will cause problems. The machine may trip and the heater will be useless again. So as I was saying, the bracket inside the tub there needs to sit in between these two inner coils of the heater. If you miss the bracket, then it's going to cause damage to the heater, so make sure you don't miss the bracket. Okay, so now I'm going to fit the heater. We need to, like I said, make sure the bracket lines up with the heater. What you can do is do a bit of a wiggle test once you've got it so far. If it's flapping around and going all over the place, it's not in position. Just push it home like that, and then I'll show you how to do the next bit. So the next thing I'm going to do before I refit it is clean the temperature sensor, or NTC as I called it earlier. This will help temperature accuracy when heating, and it will improve the seal once it goes into place. So now I've cleaned the NTC, I'm going to refit it. Make sure you take note of which way you took it out. I know it came out that way. So it's a simple matter of just pushing and sliding into place. Until it's home, like that. So now I'm going to tighten the heater with my 10mm socket. What you may find is the NTC tries to push out a little bit. You should be able to push that back in ever so slightly and carry on. You want to make sure it's very tight as well, but not so tight that it damages the thread on the bolt. So now I'm going to reconnect the heater up, all the wires on there. So follow your photograph. I've got the NTC plug here to go in there. I've got my earth wire to go in the middle. And I've got my live and neutral to the heater. They all should just push in and stay there. So at this point we're going to refit the belt. I'm going to refit it to the motor spindle first and then thread it up towards the pulley. I'm going from the right to the left, holding roughly 10 and 2 o'clock and feeding it round very gently, nice and slow, so that it doesn't slip off. Slips on just like that. Just give it a quick turn, make sure it's on properly. So before we refit the back panel, we're going to run a test rinse to just make sure there's no leaks from the heater itself. So if you let the machine finish filling and you're happy that it's not leaking from the heater, you can cancel the program and pump the water out. So quickly, before you put the back panel on, make sure you remove the plug to avoid yourself any injury. I'm going to refit the back panel now. It's just those 3 remaining Torx T20 screws. And it's basically a reverse of removal, so the back will fit up. You've got 2 sort of dimples here, which these cutouts should line up with. Just adjust it if you need to. This one will need small adjustments. And then you may need a friend to hold it there while you re-screw it. It's not the easiest to refit. Careful not to cross thread any screws. And once you've done that, you can put your machine back and crack on with whatever washing you've got. And that was how to change a heater on a Bosch washing machine. Thanks for watching.